Greetings and welcome to Let's Play Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. Let's carry on. We went into the sewers after, in my opinion, stupid puzzle. And we have this boat, we can... okay, let's check out this here. What is this?
The wall had flaked, and anything once written on it had long since gone. The inscription was hard to read, but I made out Templier and something about innocence.
The Templars were innocent.
My medieval French isn't much, but the few words I understood seemed to say, "This is where the gallows used to stand." Maybe.
Oh. What's over here? That looks interesting. I can't interact with this at all.
I pushed against the door, but it seemed to be locked. The door was a handsome piece of work.
Well...
a weird little boat lay tied up. I guess they used it to get maintenance crews around. Either that or the Phantom of the Opera was somewhere near. On the boat was a winching machine.
That's a long...
The hook lay in a bed of chain. It was the bright red ball I'd got from the juggler.
So I can't take
The hook
this.
on the boat was...
I would have connected this with the door maybe, and hopefully that would have done something, but...
my MIDI... maybe.
Why can't I use this? So here's only the door that I can use. This looks like part of a castle. Okay. Like this was the tower and... weird. So I can only winch back and forth here. Can I do something with the hook? Nope.
The hook lay in a bed of chain. There were 3 arches, each with an inscription. The wall had flaked. The wall seemed in... the inscription was undecipherable. The plaster had cracked, and I wondered why.
The plaster? No.
It was
Smash
time
open.
for some brutal destruction. Hey! That's hollow! I'd poked a hole in an historical site. If any archaeologists came by, they'd lynch me for this. There was some sort of mechanism hidden inside the wall, with a lever in the middle of it. Close up, I could see the plaster was thinner where I'd broken through, and behind it were some cogs and a lever.
Okay.
Here goes. The secret door had jammed. I couldn't get through that gap.
Can you open it anymore? No. Okay, can we open this here?
Nothing hollow there.
And here?
That sounded pretty solid.
Oh, we're in a different room now. Ah, look, I picked this up. Interesting. Mon Dieu! Okay, that looks interesting.
Boy, had I ever made a mess of that door. The door mechanism was trashed. It would take a blacksmith or an engineer to do anything with that.
It must smell like ass in there. Whence it...
In the beginning was the end.
That's loud.
An end wrought by our enemies began our darkness. In the end will be a beginning. An end to our enemies heralds our new day. Report.
The military establishments are in flux.
Oh, this guy.
The end of the Cold War has left them with no clear goal and as obvious targets for budgetary cuts. We have successfully promoted a sense of betrayal in the upper echelons. They feel that the politicians have cast them adrift. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Good. Mademoiselle?
Governments are giving the corporations more respect than their own citizens. A groundswell of dissatisfaction and dissidence is growing. The corporations are becoming too large and complex for their own executives to control them. A blind belief in market forces is accelerating this trend the world over. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
The global population's belief in those that govern it has never been lower. We have inculcated a sense of immediacy and action over forethought and planning in all the major governments. They are acting on hasty decisions that cannot be completed or revoked without appearing foolish. The pattern is emerging. Our time is now.
Excellent. The tired old governments are dying a slow death from their own incompetence and our machinations. Professor, where is the broken sword?
As we discussed last time, with the loss of the manuscript, our search is as a corollary hindered.
And as discussed last time, you have been furnished with a dramatically increased budget. What have you been doing with our money, Professor?
We are working on the principle that the Templars, that is to say our predecessors,
Hold on. These are the Templars?
must have left a trail when they were hiding the clues to the sword of Baphomet's location. I have a small army of historians and archaeologists ferreting out that trail.
I trust these historians and archaeologists are more trustworthy than your friend Pegram.
Pegram was loyal. He tried to protect the Lochmarn gem when the Hashashin came near.
And failed. And don't call that Syrian maniac the Hashashin. He's an assassin. Plain and simple.
That's not what he believes. He actually thinks.
Silence! Do I have to remind you that we have a sacred duty? A trust? When Philippe attempted to destroy the Order, we lost the sword and our power with it. Now we have the opportunity to reforge it. But time is short. We need results, not petty bickering, not excuses. Now, Professor Baphomet.
Yes, of course, my apologies. We will find Baphomet and the sword, manuscript or no. We have already found another element actually within Paris.
Excellent. What is it?
Well, we're not exactly sure at present.
Ha!
But I have my best people working on it. You would do well not to criticize others, Eklund. At least I have not murdered one of our own.
Of course. That guy was the bogus doctor in the hospital.
Marquet was a liability. Eklund dealt with him on my orders.
I beg your pardon, Grandmaster. I did not mean to.
Have you any good news for us, Professor?
We already know 3 of the elements. We know that Klausner had obtained the lens before he vanished.
Where was he?
Syria. We know that he arrived, but after that, nothing.
The assassin.
I fear so. It's a shame. Klausner was a good operative.
This will be our last meeting in person until we locate the sword of Baphomet. I hope that I don't need to emphasize the importance of finding it. Without it, our endeavors come to nothing. With the sword reforged, we will have the power to sweep the stage of all opposition. The next time that we meet, it will be to become the princess of this world!
Wow.
And now let's all go together on this little boat. That's a little bit awkward. I wonder if I had game over if I went down here. Ah!
There was a large circle marked out on the floor with a stump in the middle. Around the circle I could see words inlaid into the stone. On the circle's circumference were the Templar seal and 2 Latin phrases, Non omnis moriar and Clarior e tenebris. I shall not die completely, the brighter from the darkness.
That looks like the tripod comms gets here.
The water seemed to belong to an underground river or something. It was way too deep to belong to the catacombs.
Okay. Let's use the tripod here.
The tripod's feet fitted neatly into the notches on the top of the stump.
What a coincidence. Let's put a gem in here.
The light falling from above struck the gem and scattered in 5 neat rays.
Marib.
And each ray picked out a letter. Starting from the left, I could read M-A-R-I-B. Marib. Now all I had to do was figure out what the heck that meant.
Marib.
Nico, I've seen them.
Who?
The Templars. I spied on their meeting in the catacombs.
And you saw the Knights Templar?
I saw a bunch of guys masquerading as Templars. They're after something called the Sword of Baphomet. The bogus doctor was there, the guy who killed Marquet. The manuscript is the key, just as we thought. It shows the way to the broken sword, whatever that is.
And how does the assassin fit into all this?
He's out to stop them. These Neo-Templars, they're men and women in influential positions. Don't you see? Plantar was one of them. The assassin killed him for the manuscript, to stop them finding the sword.
But now we have got the manuscript.
Yes.
So, how do they hope to find the sword?
I don't know. They said something about a lens and a guy called Klausner who's gone to Syria, but they didn't seem to realize the significance of the very site of their meeting. You see, after they'd gone, I discovered a stone pedestal and a carved inscription. I set up the gem on the tripod, directly below a beam of light. The gem split the beam and lit the letters M-A-R-I-B.
Marib is a village in Syria.
Then the Neo-Templars are ahead of us. Klausner beat me to it.
You're not thinking of going there yourself, are you?
Why not?
These guys are crazy and dangerous. That reminds me, you should leave the gem here.
Okay. What about the tripod?
I'll send it back to André, anonymously.
And if he had gone there like an hour later, it would have spelled something else? That's the thing with sunlight? I guess? Maybe? Oh well. Well, let's go to Syria. Why not? Yeah, I found a ball.
That...
Oh.
Do you think I should go to Marib?
Syria is a long way, Georges.
Are you just made out of money? That you can just book a flight to Syria like this? Like, okay, bye. A few hours later. Well. Kitty cat! Aww. Aww. No, don't leave.
Ah, bad-tempered as well as ugly.
No.
As I didn't see the point of going all the way over there to get scratched, I stayed where I was. The cat was an ugly brute who looked like he owned the joint.
No, cats can't be ugly. Yes, pet it. No. So who are
The
you?
stand was being watched by a young boy, maybe 12 years old.
Hey there, young fella. Speaky you the English? Speaker you the Anglaise? Parlez-vous anglais?
Yes, si, and indeed we, and rather better than you by the sound of it. My name is Nijo. Welcome to my grand emporium of quality merchandise.
So he speaks English, German, and France. Well, that's impressive.
So, this is your stand?
Oh, yes, sir. Though stand does not begin to do it justice. The finest in this bustling metropolis.
This is a bustling metropolis?
Well, not per se, no.
After you Americans bombed us, we are not that metropolis anymore.
How much are those books there on the shelf?
Have you any Syrian pounds?
I think I might have a couple of Irish pund.
Then they're too expensive for you, sir.
You speak very good English.
Thank you, sir. I learned from tapes that my uncle procured.
Oh, a language course.
No, sir. Jeeves and Wooster. Gussie, Fink, Noto, Aunt Agatha. What ho?
What?
That's not a very friendly cat you got there, Nijo.
No, sir. It is a very unfriendly cat.
Aww.
Why do you keep it?
Oh, it's not mine. It just rests where it pleases. And today it pleases to rest there. As Kipling would say, it is a cat that walks by itself.
Fiercely independent.
And it smells.
Oh, then nobody takes care of it.
Does the word Templar mean anything to you?
Templar. Ah, Templar. Templar! Why, yes, of course.
It does?
Yes. A splendid series of books by Mr. Leslie Charteris, featuring the roguish Mr. Simon Templar.
Great. That's a real help, Nijo. Anything else?
The Saint television program, featuring Mr. Roger Moore of the quizzical eyebrow, and a stick man with a halo. Bing!
What are you talking about?
So all Templar means to you is Roger Moore.
I only watched it for the stick man with the halo. Bing! He was better animated.
What?
So I'm correct in saying that the word Templar doesn't mean much to you.
Well, there was the Order of Knights who were wiped out in an Inquisition in 1312, I suppose.
That's them. What else do you know?
Just how much information do you think there is on a Trivial Pursuit card?
A what?
From the medieval edition. We had it on the stand a couple of years ago. Ask me what a feuter is. Go on, I know all this stuff.
Never mind. Okay, forget about the Templars for a minute. What do you know about knights?
Like the Crusaders, they came to the East on an insane and pointless mission. They sacrificed thousands of lives, including their own, for insensate pride. How anyone can find them romantic confounds me.
Okay.
This plaster was very useful in Ireland.
Really? Your fund of travelers' tales never ceases to enthrall me.
Have you seen this man before?
No, sir. I'm glad to say. Cold eyes.
What do you make of this?
A man-sized double-ply tissue stained with Bestheimer's number 12 white pancake grease paint.
What?
Apparently.
How do you know all this
Here,
stuff?
shake hands, Nijo.
I'd rather not, sir.
Look at this. A lifting key as used by Parisian sewer workers.
Callooh, Calais, sir. I must remember this day for posterity. My grandchildren will be fascinated.
can never have grandchildren.
What do you make of this?
Well, beyond the obvious, very little. That pattern seems very familiar, though.
Do you know the name Merlin?
I'm afraid not, old bean.
Old bee?
What can I do with a blood pressure gauge?
Don't tempt me to tell you, sir.
What do you think of this, eh?
Oh, sir, what a splendid plaything. One day, when I am rich, I am going to build a world-renowned collection of brightly colored balls.
Are you serious?
In deadly earnest. People will come from far and wide to see my
Yes?
collection. The Rockefellers and the Gettys can keep their hoards of so-called fine art. But answer me this. What good is a Picasso, I ask you, if you cannot bounce it off a wall?
You may have a point. Seriously, do you really think this thing's so great?
Take it away, you tempter.
I'll swap it for something off your stand.
Due to seasonal financial considerations, I'm afraid I cannot.
I thought you wanted this thing.
I do, sir. The stand doesn't.
Which in translation meant it's not really my stand, and I'll be in big trouble if I swap anything for something that I want myself.
Alternatively, is there any service that you require?
Not at the moment, but I'll bear it in mind. So long, Nijo.
Toodle pip, sir.
Toodle what? Okay, fuck you too. End of part 18. Let's see, did we get another 2% or something? Yes, 2%. So if we make this in 2% parts, that means I get... Oh god, I'm going to play this game forever. I thought you can be done with this game in like 8 hours. I highly doubt it. Unless the last quest gives you like 20% completion bonus. Anyways, I think